All right, well, let me get in the hot seat.
Is it recording?
It is recording.
What's up, guys? Go subscribe to Landon Escher.
Cut that part out.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Let's Teach Stuff. I am Logan,
I'm Bilal.
I'm Landon.
and today I am going to teach you why the 1931 China floods were the worst, aka the most deadly natural disaster ever.
Wow.
And we are Let's Teach Stuff by Integrator Incorporated. This is our last video marking the end of the natural disaster series.
So this is the 1931 China Yangtze River
Yeah.
floods.
Okay.
All right, and yeah, so little quick intro. So it happened during the period of April to August 1931. And on August 18th, 1931, the Yangtze River peaks during a horrible flood. So this is basically where the flood got to its worst point. And it killed 3.7 million people, directly and indirectly, over the next several months after the flood began. And this was due to a culmination of factors. So you had things like, actually I'll get into that later. So it was because of multiple factors that many people died. So this was most deadly natural disaster ever as far as we know, although fatality estimates do vary. So yeah. So a little bit about the Yangtze River. How you pronounce it is Yangtze, and so the T is basically silent.
Okay.
This is actually the longest river in Asia, and it's entirely in China. So I mean, China's a giant country, so makes sense. And it is the third longest river in the entire world. So this Yangtze River, this river plays a huge role in the history, culture, and economy of China. So basically, it serves as their source of water, it serves as their source of irrigation, and it serves as their source of sanitation. And that's
Sanitation, they bathe in it?
yes, because once again, these people are poor. Most of the people are poor, but I'll get into that. So those are just the three main ways that they take advantage of this river. And so this river runs through southern China, which makes sense why it's the most deadly, because southern China is extremely populated. And seasonal flooding has been a major problem for this river. So, a little timeline of this disaster. So, in the year 1931, starting in April, the river area received a massive amount of rainfall. Like, I'm talking massive. So, this basically made the river go up to a very high point. So I don't think the flood necessarily started then, but it was basically priming the Yangtze River for a massive flood if it rained any more than that. So then in July, this was the second massive rainfall, and this was where the flood essentially developed.
So the flood was caused because of the rainfall?
Yes, that is correct. It was
That
caused.
must have been a lot of rainfall.
It was a massive amount of rainfall. So this is where in July, start to have very harsh living situations, because, as you can see in this picture, look how populated it is, and you just got all this water flowing. People,
Yeah,
Maybe-
water everywhere.
there's water everywhere, and this is a ton of people that are living in this area. So they all have to find a place to go when the water is taking up all their land.
Do people think this was a natural population correction?
I don't believe so.
Good deal.
I mean, they did have their one-child policy not too long ago.
Okay, so in August, by this time, 500,000 people were driven out of their homes. So this is where you have people drowning. This is where you have everyone just losing their homes. Everyone's just trying to move to other locations. But these people are all very poor, so they just don't really have anywhere to go, and they probably don't know how to swim. So put that together, and you have people drowning. So then by mid-August, the waters had risen significantly, and their rice fields, so this is their main source of food, was swamped. So pretty much they just depended on rice, and that was gone.
Wow.
So this led to massive starvation. So the cause of the flood was, as I mentioned, excessive rainfall over China in July and August of 1931. And the problem was that there was no government programs or good management of the precipitation because of a civil war that was going on in the area. So basically this led to poor management of the rivers. So like things like dams were built badly.
No, but
So-
I remember from history, China had a lot of civil wars, so wow.
Yeah, so there's a civil war going on during this, which also led to things being built the wrong way. The management wasn't there because they were focusing all the resources on the Civil War.
All I know is that the big civil war was the one in 1949 when China became communist.
Yeah, so that I just know there was a civil war going on. I don't know
Okay.
specifically the civil war that was happening, but the main thing was that things were built incorrectly. They didn't manage any of this, so the flood just basically was as worse as it possibly could have been. So also, so the banks were overtopped, and this was also because there was actually snow melting from the spring. So you actually had snow melting and you had massive rainfall. So put those two things together, and that's a lot of liquid.
Wow.
So this basically there was over 24 inches of rain that fell during the month of July alone. So
Wow.
24 inches of rainfall. Just picture that. So that's like what, like
2 feet.
That's 2 feet. Yes, that's 2 feet. So that's like what, up here somewhere? That's a lot of rainfall. Okay, so that was just July alone. So then you have April, or not April, sorry. You have July and August. So basically you had these two amounts of massive rainfall, so you can only imagine how bad this thing could have been. Basically, this was a very populated poverty area, so people really did not have plan Bs. They had a large dependence, so like dependence on the river for personal and farming needs. And then they obviously depended on the rice fields for all their food. So once the rice fields got swamped, they were screwed. And then basically you had the Civil War going on, and this was where you took into account the neglected management of the river. So basically the area's resources were devoted to the Civil War instead of the management of the river. And so the land near the river actually became overused because there was just no management going on. So now I'm going to transition into some nasty stuff. So viewer discretion advised.
Oh, boy.
So you had typhoid and dysentery as well,
What's
spreading.
No, I don't know.
So like
Did you say typhus?
no, it's called typhoid.
Oh, typhoid.
Yeah, and dysentery. So like you had that all spreading around the river
What is that?
because people use this river for everything.
No,
so they,
but what
they
is
took craps in the
sanitation?
river and stuff like that.
It's a disease.
Yes. So diseases. So you have the river got very polluted, and so this spread disease because people use this for literally all their needs. So you can just
Yeah, they had the same thing close to where I was living in Pakistan. It was
Yes.
bad. They bathed in the river, and like close to where I lived, they
went to the bathroom in the river.
they went to
Yeah.
the bathroom. They cooked in that river.
Yeah, so people did everything in this river, and so you can imagine how much a disease spread. So people either drowned, they starved, or they got infected.
So there could have been a dead body in that river when you were bathing in it.
Correct. So even after the water level became normal, many of these people still had diseases, so they were still like infected, and so that's why in the first slide I was talking about or in the second slide I was talking about how people died indirectly. So basically they were just, even after the flood was gone, there's people still that were dying. So okay, I kind of already talked about that. All right, so basically some ways that this flood or this disaster could have been averted. So the main reason is because they should have followed flood control measures. Unfortunately, was all dedicated to the Civil War.
Did they have flood?
What?
Did they have flood protocols?
They did,
But what would that look like?
like basically building dams correctly. So like these dams were built incorrectly because people weren't managing the people that were building the dams. So
Doesn't
they
it
were.
take a while to build a dam though?
It does, but they were supposed to be they were supposed to be like let's see, what's the word for it? Maintaining the dams and like maintaining the flood control. So it wasn't necessarily like building dams, it was more like I think maintaining dams.
Oh, commitment to it.
Yeah, so unfortunately this was very neglected, so basically once you had massive rainfall there was nothing you could do about it.
Gotcha. They were too busy fighting each other.
Correct.
Right.
And there was lots of sediment to be cleared. So like from people like crapping in the river, all that kind of like dirt and stuff. Basically, people were using the river for everything. So there's lots of sediment in the river.
Yeah, I remember in one history class I had in World War One when it would rain in the trenches that soldiers were in, like they would get they would go to the bathroom in those trenches. They would develop something called trench foot.
Yeah,
it was disgusting.
Exactly. That's exactly what happened here, pretty much.
That's
Except much worse. So that's why I was so deadly. So they basically just didn't clear any of this sediment. So that's what basically caused all of the massive rainfall to be much worse. So a little bit about the aftermath. You had huge amounts of damage to housing and farmland, and you had a big economic shock. So like the price of vital commodities that people depended on rose rapidly. Like I'm sure the price of rice was just extremely high. And then you had a ton of infection. So let's get into the quiz.
Alright.
So basically, let's start with. You guys ready?
Yep.
Have any questions before we begin?
I do not.
All right. So, can someone explain why the Yangtze River? All right, I'll just have the log get.
Okay, it was because of the rainfall, and further than that, many people weren't exactly committed to damming protocols, like you said.
Correct. Very good. All right, Bilal has a point. Okay, so for question 2, explain why the 1931 China Yangtze River floods was such a deadly natural disaster. I guess I'll give it to Landon.
Yeah, I guess I think Landon got it.
Because it ruined it flooded their rice fields, so you got starvation. You got those 2 diseases you mentioned, and you got that people were pushed out of their homes.
Very good. So the magic 3, or I guess the sad 3.
The Holy Trinity.
Yeah.
It wasn't exactly holy.
People either drowned, they starved, or they got infected. So
that doesn't really sound holy, though.
It's not. So, third question. So Landon gets a point. So you guys are both tied.
It's a death match now.
So it's not a death match. I actually have a bonus.
Oh,
so,
okay.
The third question: explain how the disaster could have been avoided. I really have no clue. You guys are gonna have to go with the honor system. Who do you think got it?
You want to do best out of 3, rock paper scissors?
This is already long.
All right.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors.
All right, Landon.
How could it be avoided?
Yep.
The protocols that they manage their dam system.
Yep. Flood control measures.
Yes.
What do they need to clear out?
What do they need to clear out?
From the river.
Oh, their waste.
Yep. What was the word called? The S word. Started with an S. What do they need to clear out?
I don't know.
Sediment.
Sediment.
Yeah.
Alright. So did I get that or not?
Yeah, I'll give you the point.
Nice.
I'll give you the point. Alright, so for the bonus, name one of the aftermaths of a disaster. I think Landon got it again.
Starvation.
That's not included that wasn't included in my slide.
Damn.
Okay, I guess it goes to
So, let's see if the law can steal.
property damages.
That is correct.
Okay, it was a tie.
Alright.
Good deal.
So, yeah, we have a tie.
We've reached a stalemate.
We have reached
First
a
tie, and let's teach stuff history.
So is there... Wait, is it really?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, wow, okay. So
I
we
just
have a tie.
realized that myself.
So we have a tie. So is there anything you guys still don't understand about the 1931 China floods?
I mean, you said they would clear out the sediment. How exactly would they do that?
I think with just...
I mean, it's 1931. It's
maybe
not
a shovel.
out of a river.
Yeah, something like that, or maybe.
I mean, it's 1931 in China. It's not exactly like they were the most, technologically advanced.
Yeah, I don't know.
If you were to do it with a shovel, you would probably stay there until you were bones.
Exactly, but they probably had this area is very populated, so they probably had a bunch of people at work. They did before the Civil War.
Yeah.
So, thank you for watching this episode of Let's Teach Stuff. Make sure that you subscribe if you want to see more videos like this.
Yep.
Yeah.
And be sure to check out this video that we're going to put on the screen right now.
Bam.
And stay tuned for our next series.
Absolutely. All right, guys. We will catch you in the next one.
See
All
ya.
right. Till the next one.